headlines for this hour on VTV News. 6 export items bring in over $10 billion in turnover in 9 months. And widespread thunderstorm forecasted to occur in the south. And in our news, World Bank maintains China growth forecast.
Broadcasting from Hanoi, the capital of Vietnam. VTV News starts right now.
Hello, it's 3 p.m. local time in Hanoi. You're watching VTV News. According to the General Statistics Office, there are 6 export items that have reached over $10 billion, accounting for more than 60% of the country's total export turnover in the first 9 months of the year. The top 3 categories are electronic, computers, and components with a value of more than $41 billion, followed by phones and components with more than $39 billion. Other machinery, equipment, tools, and spare parts reached nearly $31 billion, while textiles and garment products amounted to $25.5 billion. Footwear reached nearly $15 billion, and transportation vehicles and spare parts exceeded $10.2 billion. There have been many positive signs recorded in export activities. Exports have earned over $31.4 billion in September, an increase of 4.6% over the same period last year. Positive signs also reflected in Vietnam Purchasing Managers Index (PMI), which for the first time this year exceeded the threshold of 50 points. Productions and business conditions have improved and prices are increasing. Exporters have received new orders. More to follow.
This medium voltage cabinet is used to operate electrical systems in industrial factories, data centers, and for renewable energy purposes. Currently, the assembly line of this factory operates at almost 100% of its capacity to meet orders. The sales have so far increased by 15%.
Good ecosystem what we have here, strong supply chain and then the supply management, and then our own local footprint which is quite mature.
There are 4 factors that influence Purchasing Managers Index, which are new orders, output, delivery time, and inventory. Vietnam's PMI index exceeded 50 points in September, showing that business conditions have improved over the months. Thanks to that, export turnover in the third quarter is estimated at $94.6 billion. This is an increase of 10.3% compared to the figure in the second quarter. Most of Vietnam's key products have regained growth momentum.
Vietnamese supply chain inventories in the United States have decreased, signaling the need to ramp up imports. Since the end of the second quarter of 2023, Vietnam's key products have boosted exports to the States.
Well, I mean, for PMI, it really reflects the manufacturing's prospects for future production. I think we are seeing some positive, especially for the latest PMI readings. It's the very first time.
However, experts also issued warnings of global challenges that might affect Vietnam's exports in the near future. According to global economic reports, inflation in many countries is showing signs of cooling, and an increase in spending during the year-end period would reduce inventories. There are problems but also opportunities. Vietnamese businesses need to take advantage and prepare production capacity and labor.
Industrial production is displaying promising signs of recovery as orders start to return. Businesses have also begun hiring more workers to fulfill year-end orders. According to the General Statistics Office, the industrial production index increased by nearly 4.6% in the third quarter of this year, which is approximately 5 times higher than the second quarter. In Ho Chi Minh City, many businesses have reported a 20 to 30% increase in orders compared to the previous quarter. Partners have started increasing their purchases again to meet year-end and state holiday demand. Some businesses have even ramped up their factory operating capacity to 100% due to orders from the European and American market. Many businesses attribute this production's recovery to timely policies such as debt postponement, land rent exemptions and reductions, and VAT reduction. Bà Rịa Vũng Tàu province offers convenient transportations, particularly sea routes, abundant labor resources, and an open investment environment. So far, the province has signed economic cooperation agreements with Kawasaki, Izumitsu, Isanjo City, and Mizuho Bank of Japan.
Japanese investors have been present in Bà Rịa Vũng Tàu for over 30 years. There have been 45 projects by Japanese investors in the province, with a total registered capital of $5.4 billion, focusing on steel production, industrial glass, chemicals, and seaports.
Our company always receives a lot of support from the province. With the effective help of local authorities, we have overcome all difficulties to achieve various good results in production and business.
We export to customers in Malaysia and Thailand, so the advantage of being close to the seaport is the main reason for choosing the province for investment.
This park is one of two model industrial parks under the Local Economic Development Initiative program, jointly carried out by Japanese International Cooperation Agency and Bà Rịa Vũng Tàu Province. To date, it has attracted 38 projects with a total capital of $2.65 billion, with Japanese enterprises accounting for 70% of the total.
Currently, in order to attract Japanese businesses, Phie 3 is doing what the province expects, which is a modern, environmentally synchronized industrial park. Before we attract investment, we must complete the waste treatment plant and provide electricity to the fences of industrial and gas zones.
Bà Rịa Vũng Tàu Province frequently engages with various Japanese agencies, organizations, and businesses to gather and document their opinions. This is done to create favorable conditions for businesses to operate and to strengthen and enhance cooperation with Japanese partners.
Hanoi has great potential to attract foreign investment in the semiconductor industry. Recently, Hanoi granted an investment certificate to a company from Taiwan, China, with an initial investment of $125 million. Investors believe that Hanoi advantages include its strategic locations and abundant human resources. Currently, 73% of students studying STEM fields are based in Hanoi. The city is home to 12 industrial parks, covering a total area of nearly 3,000 hectares. Additionally, Hoa Lạc High Tech Park has been transferred to Hanoi. In the first 9 months of this year, Hanoi ranked first in the country with a total registered foreign investment capital of nearly $2.53 billion. From October 11th to 18th, the inspection team of the European Commission's EC is expected to visit Vietnam for the fourth inspections on combating illegal, unreported, and unregulated seafood exploitations. Coastal localities are currently intensifying inspections, reviewing and strengthening monitoring and enforcement measures in accordance with regulations to effectively prevent illegal fishing activities.
Gui's family owns 8 fishing boats. In order to engage in fishing activities, the boats need to be equipped with cruise monitoring equipment. The fishermen have now recognized the benefits of installing journey monitoring equipment. Despite the initial investment cost of more than $20 million for each device, Gui believes that it is a worthwhile investment.
Cruise monitoring starts when you register a fishing vessel. It is mandatory to install it for the department to check. People can see wherever I go, but I think that is very good.
Before leaving port, the fishing boats will be visited by the authorities to check documents, ship members, cruise monitoring equipment, and especially to provide timely instructions to crew members as well as other passengers.
Vessels without a trip monitoring device installed will be prohibited from sailing. This policy has been clearly communicated to all units, including the Fisheries Subdepartment, by the Provincial People's Committee.
To effectively monitor and prevent IUU exploitation, Bà Rịa Vũng Tàu province has also established rapid response teams. As a result, the number of fishing vessels violating regulations and losing connection to the cruise monitoring system for more than 10 days in the province has decreased sharply by 65% compared to 2022.
I can commend the efforts of Vietnam because a lot has been done on the legislative framework for IUU in a very positive direction. The challenge, which I understand, is to ensure now the enforcement of that legislation at local level, in the provinces, in the ports, by the fishermen. And this is what the inspection mission will assess in October when it comes to Vietnam. Well, it is to demonstrate that in practice this is being enforced and that illegal and unreported fishing is decreasing in Vietnam.
Removing the IUU yellow card is an important and urgent task. The European Union, or EU, is one of the top 5 largest export markets for Vietnamese seafood. Failure to promptly implement the European Commission's recommendations could result in the yellow card being escalated to a red card. This would not only prevent Vietnamese seafood from accessing the EU market, but it could also lead to other countries, such as the US, implementing similar measures.
And before moving on to some other news, let's take a look at foreign exchange rate for today, October 3rd. Coming up next on VTV News, widespread thunderstorm forecasted to occur in the south. And joint efforts needed to put an end to bear bell farming. On Tuesday evening, the high tide in the south is expected to rapidly subside. However, the risk of flooding remains due to localized heavy rain. Widespread thunderstorms are forecast for Tuesday evening, affecting the South, Central Highlands and many central provinces. The expected rainfall ranges from 15 to 40 millimeters, with some places experiencing heavy rain over 70 millimeters. It is important to note that heavy rain in the short period of time can lead to local flooding in low-lying areas. Cà Mau City experienced widespread heavy rain from noon until yesterday afternoon. As a result, many roads in the area are deeply flooded, creating traffic insecurity and impacting the life of people in the city and suburban communes. More to follow.
Many roads in Cà Mau were flooded, forcing vehicles to wade through the water. The main causes of flooding were heavy rain, a slow drainage system, and high tides. These factors had caused difficulties in people's lives.
In some drainage areas, it seems like the leaves are stuck in the soil so that the water cannot drain. Water has spilled into half of the yard.
The house of Lê Thị Ngọc Hiến, located in Ward 5, Cà Mau City, has never experienced flooding before. However, due to recent heavy rain, water flooded into the house. Almost all of her belongings and furniture had to be elevated to prevent damage. The water kept pouring in, and Hiến family members had to take turns pumping it out.
It's probably that the drainage system cannot keep up with the speed of the rain. We keep pumping the water out. The street is higher than the house, so the water flooded into the house.
Cà Mau City is currently implementing a zoning planning policy that involves dismantling long-standing sewer system to improve flow and upgrading roads in the areas prone to flooding. However, due to heavy and widespread rainfall, the drainage system is struggling to cope. The forecasts predict that the rain will persist in the upcoming days, so it is important for people to monitor weather forecasts and respond promptly.
Quảng Nam province is actively seeking solutions to preserve the endangered gray shank dog langur herd, which consists of 69 individuals. Currently, these langurs inhabit 4 limestone mountains in Núi Thành district. Over time, their habitat has been shrinking due to the exploitations of acacia wood and vegetation burning. The forest area they rely on is approximately 30 hectares. To address these issues, Núi Thành district has proposed a project to expand the forest area by an additional 30 hectares, providing a suitable living space for the langur herd. Local authorities are also reaching out to international donors for support in the conservation effort of this rare and unique dog langur population. Currently, there are over 300 bears in the country being kept in captivity on farms or in households. Conservation experts warn that long-term confinement in cramped cages can have negative effects on the physical and mental health of the bears. Since 2006, Animal Ager has been rescuing bears in Vietnam and has successfully rescued and provided care for nearly 270 black and sun bears, reintroducing them to their natural habitats. Recently, 2 additional bears have been rescued.
These 2 black bears have been kept in captivity for nearly 20 years, even though their lifespan is only 30 to 35 years. Initially kept at home for commercial purposes since 2006, the head of the household has now voluntarily submitted a transfer application. The aim is to relocate the bears to the Bear Rescue Center, where they can receive better care.
The authorities cooperated with forest rangers to encourage us to transfer the 2 bears to the government. We agreed to do that with the hope that they would receive good care.
In 2023, we successfully persuaded 3 facilities to transfer 8 bears. We will continue to do good in education and encouragement.
Due to the limited habitat and the hunting of wild bears for bile extraction that occurred in the 1990s, there are still a large number of bears kept in captivity on farms and in households. Unfortunately, many of them have suffered psychological damage or are disabled for life.
You know, when a bear has spent over 20 years in a cage, which these bears have, there will be lots of physical and psychological issues, of course. Notably the teeth, they're usually in a very bad condition. Maybe there's heart problems because of the stress levels, maybe eye problems again because of stress levels.
In recent years, the government of Vietnam, along with NGOs, has been working tirelessly to put an end to the cruel practice of bear bile farming in the country. Thanks to the remarkable efforts made by local authorities, many bear owners across Vietnam have voluntarily relinquished their bears.
The rainy season has arrived in the fields and river of Vietnam's western regions. While the water level is not yet high, it is quickly approaching the banks in many upstream and adjacent areas. And in these mountainous regions, the rainy season is also the time for admiring beautiful clouds.
Cấm Mountain, also known as the Forbidden Mountain, is approximately 710 meters above sea level. It is situated in the heart of the Seven Mountains region and boasts wild and majestic beauty. According to our tour guide, the rainy season is the ideal time of the year for cloud hunting.
I had to go up Cấm Mountain very early to get a beautiful view of the sunrise and clouds. It's very poetic.
We also have photos of cloud hunting since people embarking on an early pilgrimage and images of mist-covered trees reminiscent of the views in Sapa and Dalat.
The rainy season has returned to Chasu Melaleuca forest. During this time of year, the entire ecosystem comes alive after the sunny summer days. With the return of water, the vegetation becomes lush, attracting many animals who gather to find food and mate.
During every rainy season, this place offers special scenic views. The images of water in the fields, craft villages, and fishing are incredibly captivating. Sometimes, the simplest things in everyday life take on great value through photography, as they become cherished memories that cannot be regained once they pass.
The poetic image of the rainy season is an integral part of the culture of the Mekong Delta people. In An Giang province, the love and memories of the Mekong Delta are strongly connected to rainy season. In celebration of National Digital Transformation Day on October 10th,
The launching ceremony of the online art exhibition space was held in Hanoi on Tuesday morning. This event provides artists with an opportunity to preserve and showcase their works to art enthusiasts, both domestically and internationally. The online art exhibition space features an external interface that resembles a stylized lotus-shaped. Inside the exhibition space, viewers can engage with the work in an appealing and user-friendly manner. They can control the viewing angle, zoom in, interact with the art, provide feedback, and share opinions with the artist and the art community. Viewers can access the artworks anytime and from anywhere around the world, as long as they have an internet-connected device. This online exhibition platform provides artists and their works with a new space and the opportunity to preserve and promote artistic values. Ethnic cultures are considered as the foundation for Vietnamese people on the way towards development. Preserving and promoting cultural values of ethnic groups has always been a priority and long-term task of the party and the state. Cultural identities of ethnic groups are not only preserved but also promoted and transformed into resources for socio-economic developments, thus helping locals to escape poverty and stabilize their lives. This is a story about how cultural preservation improved the lives of highland ethnic people in Quảng Nam province.
The Katu people used to live sparsely in remote mountainous areas. They only gathered in groups at the communal houses during holidays. Having known this custom, the authorities of Tây Giang district built the communal houses as the administrative center of each commune.
We asked for opinions of village elders and reputable individuals. Their opinions are vital for US in planning.
Living in new villages, the Katu people no longer have to cross the mountains and forest. They can still preserve the traditional culture. Women have a gathering place to weave brocade. Men have a place to celebrate. Lang Commune has become a community tourism attraction of Quảng Nam province.
Now every time there is a festival or tourists come, we often wear beautiful costumes to show them our traditions. This is a piece of clothing made from leaves.
In my opinion, if we can preserve the identity of the K2 people and the mountains and forests, then I believe that the life will be very beneficial from these policies. Tourism and culture will nourish us, and the mountains and forests will nourish us.
In recent years, the highland districts of Quảng Nam province have policies to preserve community cultural values. This is considered the foundation and premise for developing tourism associated with the unique cultural values of the community.
Every year, we guide localities in organizing cultural, artistic, physical training and sports activities. Every 4 years, we organize grand cultural and sports festivals. This year, there will be many tourism activities.
The resolution of the 13th Party Congress has determined the implementation of policies for cultural development must be hand in hand with economic development. Festivals come again. The Katu people perform their traditional dances with a belief in a prosperous life.
Coming up next in our World News, World Bank maintains China growth forecast. And Eurozone unemployment rate hits historic low. In the recently released economic update report for the East Asia and Pacific region, the World Bank revised the region's GDP growth rate from 5.1% to 5% compared to the forecast made 6 months ago. However, the World Bank maintained China growth rate at 5.1%. The World Bank predicts that economic growth in the East Asia and Pacific region in 2023 will still exceed the average growth rate of all developing economies in emerging markets worldwide. According to the World Bank, China's economic growth rate is being affected by domestic challenges such as slow recovery after reopening the economy, increasing debt and instability in the real estate sector. Nevertheless, Adiato Mato, the chief economist in charge of the East Asia and Pacific regions at the World Bank, highlights that China is a major global economy with significant potential for growth. Moreover, many experts believe that if China increases its focus on consumption growth in the medium term, GDP growth will likely and significantly improve. The policy implemented to support the real estate market have started to yield results as China new house prices increased slightly by 0.05% in September, ending a 4-month decline. Thailand's Minister of Commerce announced on Monday that Thailand has started implementing the government's quick win policy. The goal of this policy is to reduce the cost of living by lowering the prices of consumer goods, benefiting both businesses and consumers. According to Minister Phumtham Wechayachai, 288 business operators, including food and staples manufacturers, department stores, and major retailers, have agreed to support the further reductions of prices for nearly 151,600 goods and services from now until the end of the year. Additionally, there are 110 service providers such as hospitals, vehicle service centers, logistics service operators, and online training platforms participating in this discount campaign. It is estimated that this measure will help decrease living costs for people by up to 87% and stimulate consumer spending, promoting economic growth before the end of the year. The European Statistics Agency released data on the unemployment rate in the European Union at the end of August 2023. The unemployment rate in Europe has dropped to 5.9%, the lowest level in history, indicating a scarcity of workers in the European labor market. The unemployment rate in the European Union continued to decline and reached a historic low of 5.9% by the end of August. Among Eurozone countries, the unemployment rate is 6.4%, the lowest level since the beginning of statistical data collection. Despite slow economic growth, the unemployment rate in the European Union has consistently decreased since mid-2021. Unemployment individuals are defined as those who have actively sought work in the past 4 weeks and are available to start within the next 2 weeks. Gold mining is widely recognized as a hazardous profession. Undersea gold mining carries even greater risk, several times higher than traditional mining. Despite the dangers involved, individuals without alternative means of income are compelled to work diligently to provide for themselves and their families.
Gold divers in the Philippines use minimal equipment, which includes a mask, a belt, and a simple plastic tube for pumping compressed air. Due to the high cost, oxygen tanks are not used in this line of work. Instead, divers rely on compressed air delivered through plastic pipes, despite the risk of potential malfunctions.
I pray nothing will happen to us and that God will give us the strength to work all day underwater. Sometimes I get nervous before diving, and sometimes not, depending on the day.
In this underwater gold mine, hundreds of men are diligently searching for gold beneath the sand to make a living. They dive to a depth of about 17 meters, move rocks, skip the seabed, and bring up sandbags filled with gold grains to the surface.
This is gold, look. To get it, we need 5 sandbags. It's hard work, but we had to get used to it because we're poor and have nothing else.
However, sand from seabed alone cannot be transformed into raw gold. To convert the scraps into gold, they also needed to combine them with water and mercury and then heat the mixture. Despite the hardship and danger, these undersea gold miners can only earn an average of 180 euros per month, which is only half of the average salary in the Philippines. However, due to poverty and limited opportunities for making a living, people are forced to choose this arduous path.
And now let's continue with the weather forecast. That's all the news for today. To rewatch the program, you can log on to VTVgo.vn or download our mobile application VTVgo. Thanks for watching and goodbye for now.